This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Don't mistake the new me for the old me. They can't stop me now, I'm with the home team. No beginner, I'm a winner. Took a couple losses, now I'm cooking, let me simmer. Yeah, tunnel vision, all I see is win, 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 win. This my city section where you been. We move faster alone, but go further together. We can weather any weather forever. A dream team, I done seen things. Confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team, I here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Forget the things you probably thought you knew. A new day is approaching, turn the gray skies into blue. I grew up on these same blocks, school of hard knocks. Had to get it on a hard time, took the hard shots, but we made it. Anticipated, highly decorated. The whole team is winning, celebrated. The victory is all mine, and everything is alright. And you know how to see things, confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team, I here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like,
All right. What's up, everybody? All right, what's going on? Welcome to Spike Kool-Aid for, Wednesday, the 17th of December, 2025. Now, listen, I'm not trying to be funny, but I just peeped this out about 5 minutes ago. I sound like somebody. And again, I'm not trying to be funny. This guy was my childhood hero, man. Why does my voice sound like Christopher Reeve when he was in the wheelchair? It sounds like Christopher Reeve. I was like, man, this is how he sounded. Anyway, I woke up this morning and my voice was not the best. And I don't know what's going on. I've taken a couple lozenges for the throat. And we here. I feel fine. I just... You haven't been posting in a minute. Raw Detroit. Yeah, I feel fine. I just haven't. I woke up, my throat was extra sore. So hopefully it's not COVID. Everything is COVID nowadays. What's up? We got Steve, Patty, Kid Rapper, Rail. What up, though? Anna D in the building. Ready to sip on some Spike Kool-Aid. Well, you know what I'm sipping on, man? I saw this. Okay, non-sponsored, man. Diet Coke Lime. I never see this stuff. I only see it when you go like to the movie theater or you go to one of them fountains, they'll have the Diet Coke variations. So I was like, I got to snatch that in a minute. Hey, what up, Von D? We got Chris. We got Win. Braylon says, go get Judon at this point. We have no choice. Hey, so Raw Detroit, what up, bro? You just now hearing that song? You just now hearing the song, bro? I didn't even know you knew it was Lecrae. Yeah, so that song is from, so everybody that doesn't know, so that song is from Spider-Man Miles Morales, the PS4 game. And then I wind up doing some research on Lecrae. And if you guys like nice, wholesome music, bro, Lecrae is a guy that, you could consider listening to. So yeah, he's like a Christian rapper, but he makes some good stuff. So I've had a couple of things pop in my playlist since I listened to it. But Lecrae, man, a real solid rapper, man. Faith says, "Where's hey Don't I sound like I sound like Christopher Reeve? I don't know what happened. I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea what happened, man. I just woke up and had this. So I've got a special piece of merchandise. I'm gonna tell y'all the first. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but I'm gonna tell you that I was designing some stuff last night, and I'm gonna order it. I'm gonna have it printed. I'm gonna order it, and when I get it and wear it, that's when it'll become for sale. It has something to do with Brad Holmes and what we talked about yesterday. That's the only clue that you'll get. The next time you see it will be when I have it on. Hey, appreciate that, bro. Appreciate it. Almost sound like Pat Mahomes. Shut up, man. Voice gone, but still sitting in front of us. Give Derek his flowers. Hey, well, I had to, bro, because tomorrow there's no show because we'll be on Lions Syndicate for Detroit Lions Weekly. But as you can see, man, from the banner and from the thumbnail, Matthew Judon was released today. And it's funny because Lions fans, to me, are so finicky. We are so finicky, man. It's almost like no wonder Brad gets to get away with the things that he gets away with. And what I mean by that is we like to give him the praise of being the best general manager we've ever seen. And while that's a compliment, I also think it's a crutch as well. It's a crutch for Brad Holmes. It's a crutch for a lot of Lions fans. They want to talk about the misery, right? Where we've come from. This is where we come from. They want to talk about where we come from, but they're not looking at where we're going. Because I think it's funny that a lot of people were mentioning dynasty. Like, how are you mentioning a dynasty? I think even Brad Holmes might have bought into like the dynasty talk. And it's like, you got to win one first, bro. You can't be talking about dynasty and you haven't even been to one. You got to win one. You got to go to one. You got to go to multiple. Like a dynasty is multiple championships in succession, right? So you got Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. You got 3 Super Bowls, 5 appearances in the last 10 years. I saw a stat. It was like, this is the first time in so many years that the postseason will not include one of these 3 people. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning, who's been retired for 10 years. Think about that. It was like since I forgot in like 28 years or something crazy like that this would be the first time that one of those 3 are not in the postseason. This is crazy. It is crazy. Bonzilla says sounding like Kermit. Do I really sound like Kermit? Kermit is like, Bonzilla says, I'm sick of Brad Holmes at this point. He is not... He not best we seen. He the best line general manager in my lifetime. The only season that will be more exciting than our 2023 season is when we win the Super Bowl. During that season, 2023 was awesome. But I don't understand what the issue is with Matthew Judon. I mean, I get it. He has no sacks. I get it. But like 90, I would say about 50% of our defensive line doesn't have a sack. Like, plus we got 3 games left. We have 3 games left. Does it really matter? I mean, we signed Keenan Thompson Garber III last night. Like, so this dude has 0 stats in the NFL. He has not a single recorded stat, according to ESPN, in the National Football League. This is, as a matter of fact, I exited out of Matthew Judon's stats. But it's like, yo, are we really? We signed Bruce Irvin off the couch 2 years ago. The brother came off the couch. He also got a sack in his first game with the Lions. But we can't sign Matthew Judon, bro. I mean, I understand if it was the offseason, I get it, but we ain't there yet. We not there yet. So, Kid Rapper says we got Hassanin. Don't worry about it. You know what's very telling? And you know what? Let's have a segment. All right, you guys are going to have to forgive me. I woke up this morning with a little bit, of no voice. I have no idea, sore throat, no voice, so we'll get through it. But I have a question that has been asked of me on Twitter. I don't have the answer, so I'm wondering what thoughts do you have? Why have we not seen Amed Hassan on the active roster? Why has he not been elevated for game day? We only have 3 games left. He's been back with the Detroit Lions at least 3 games, right? He got hurt in the preseason. He's been off. And if his family comments, because his family and I'm just going to use quotation marks because I'm not sure. His family is very active on YouTube. Usually they comment on videos made about him. So if you have the answers that you can give and put in the comment section, we are more than welcome to take a look at him. But the question that I have is, why has he not been elevated? And maybe they don't have the answer to this. Maybe he doesn't know. But the guy was taken in the 6th round. He got hurt in preseason. I mean, from what we saw that first game against, I think it was the Miami Dolphins in the preseason game, whoever it was, the Chargers. It was the Chargers. I mean, we saw some stuff and we like, okay, it's his first NFL action, even though it's not a regular season game. All right. The preseason is not the regular season. You are going against more than likely 2nd, 3rd, 4th string people who are not going to be on the team. You rarely see 1st string of any position out there. Maybe rookie, if a rookie is maybe going to get some 1st string snaps, you'll see him out there. But my thing is, why is he not been on not one time since he's been back with the Detroit Lions? So he misses most of the season. He decides to come back to the Detroit Lions. He does not affect any team's 53-man roster, so he literally could have gone anywhere. He made an active choice to come back to Detroit. So that's saying a lot as well. But with that choice being made, why has he not been elevated one time? I mean, why not let the kid get some snaps at the end of the season? So that's what I want to know. Is it can't be the injury, right? It can't be that. Do you think that it has anything to do with maybe the rawness and the fact that the Detroit Lions maybe don't believe enough in him at this point in the season, where we need every snap to count? We need every defensive snap to count. We need every play to be impactful. Do you think that's why he's not in the rotation? 1H says, I don't think Amed is ready for that type of play. Raw Detroit says he probably not ready to take the field yet. Okay, Raw, are you thinking from a physical standpoint or from a skill standpoint? Because that's a question I have as well. Jay Smooth says 6th round and got injured in preseason. I'm good. Steve says, Derek, he's not playing. You said it from the get-go because he's a 6th rounder, nothing special. Kid Rapper says, or maybe because we spent money on Davenport. Gritty Gringo says, I would like to see Amed over Davenport at this point. And you know what, Gringo? That's a good point. Both of them were hurt. Both of them missed the majority of the season. All right. Why not? Marcus Davenport has not really made too much of an impact. I think he got a tackle or something the other day against the Rams, but he haven't made that much of an impact. So why not? Why not let the kid get some snaps? I mean, because if you think about this, right? So here's the thing about the Detroit Lions. They would have to try to, Amed is almost following the exact path of James Houston. And I think with him, he might be a little more harder to keep because of the fact that he does not impact the 53-man roster, right? So if you look at James Houston, we took James Houston also in the 6th round. He was cut from that initial 53-man cut down. The Lions wind up bringing him back to the practice squad. They elevated him. I think he wind up signing to the 53 before the year was over. He wind up, and then what they did is they signed him to like an exclusive rights or something like that. But his initial draft contract was a wrap. And that's the same thing that happened with Amed. So essentially, it's like, so I'm curious to know if his desire to stay on the Detroit Lions will keep him from going anywhere else, especially seeing as how he does not count. He's got the pathway designation, so he could be on the 53-man roster and not even count toward it. So literally, the dude, he said that he literally could have played for all 31 teams. I think he said that they wanted him. Like all 31 other teams would have taken him, but he chose to stay here. So he had to go his injury length and then add 3 extra weeks to that. Raw Detroit says, skill standpoint. Okay, that's what I thought you meant. Maybe he's not good enough, says Braylon. Davenport is Swiss cheese at this point. Jay Smooth says he is too small. Give Amed the snaps over Davenport. Amed will be made a linebacker on another team. You know what, Dennis? As Jay was talking about his size, that's what immediately came to mind, is like that Malcolm Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of size. So, I mean, I think Derek Barnes played some defensive end in college. Why not try? I mean, we tried to put James Houston and Matthew Betts in the linebacker role, it was a disaster for both of the men. So I'm not sure. Maybe, I mean, but look at Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey is a safety now. He's playing safety, and he's playing very well. I know I keep bringing this up, but I think early in his career, Jeff Okudah should have been switched to safety. I think he could have been solid at safety because when he would hit you, he would hit pretty hard, man. But he was not a coverage cornerback. So I don't know, but it's curious to know, like, if the Detroit Lions, if we'll see him at all, because the preseason is not the season. So if he doesn't get any play in the next 3 games, he'll have to wait until September of next year. And we don't even know if he'll be on this team. I mean, so I don't know, but I am curious to know if we'll see him at all. And why haven't we seen him? Is it because of a skill standpoint? I mean, Brad was very adamant when he got waived that he would be back. He's back now. He's been on the practice squad. You literally could have him on the 53 and he wouldn't impact it. Why is he not on the 53? That is a very intriguing component. Again, if his family sees this and you have any answers that you can divulge, I would love to know what they are in the comment section below. Maybe we'll talk about that in another video. If not, no big deal. But I'm very curious to know what the reason is. Steven says, Derek, Stan, Amed Hassan and Miles Garrett or Daniil Hunter. Look at the difference. Amed can compete. Yeah, you know what, Steve? That's going to be a hard comparison anyway, bro. That's going to be a very difficult 6th-round pick, fresh to the NFL. That's going to be a very tough comparison. It depends on how intense you want to play now. Hey, D-Mac, but why would you, first of all, good to see you. Why not play intensely? Why not? You have nothing to lose. I mean, you're auditioning at this point to remain on this team. You really are, or to get picked up by another team. Aleem McNeil at edge is a laughable offense. It is. I 100% agree. 100% agree. Yeah, McNeil at edge is ridiculous. Goes to show the subpar depth on this team. I was rooting for Amed. I wanted to see him. I think most of us were. I think we were rooting for him, but then he got hurt, and we weren't able to see him. So I don't know, man. I think that it's intriguing to know why he's not playing. Why is he not playing? But where do you think Matthew Judon will wind up? I don't know, man. I'm hoping for his sake that a bum team does not try to claim him. Just because, I mean, who wants to go to a team that's playing for nothing? You left a team that was officially eliminated from playoff contention, and you go straight into a team that is also eliminated from playoff contention. So that I think there should be some type of rule. You know how there's a rule, right? So week 3, weeks 1 and 2, the waiver wire goes by the previous season. And then week 3, it starts from the current season. I think after the trade deadline, when people have to go through waivers, I think that for the next, maybe for those 3 weeks, that this will be solid, man. If Roger Goodell and they like the NFLPA and the competition committee, if those guys were to talk about this, because it just doesn't seem fair, right? So you go so after the trade deadline for the remainder of November, if you are waived, maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe they can make it somewhere where if you are a vested veteran, or if the team is last in the division or bottom 10 in the NFL, that you can't be claimed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I know they would have to really figure it out, but I just think it's unfair to a player to go from, I mean, you're on a bad team, but or maybe if the player has over a certain amount of years, then they can maybe, or you know what? Maybe they could do this. Maybe they could give a player a skip. Maybe they could do that. They'll give, after the trade deadline, starting November 1st, they give you one skip. You know what I mean? Like, you could skip one time, meaning if a team came to claim you, you could pass on that team, right? So Darius Slay wanted to go back to the Eagles. He was okay with going back to the Eagles after the Steelers waived him. The Buffalo Bills picked him up. He doesn't want to play there. I wouldn't want to play there. It's cold. They win, but it's cold. It is cold in Buffalo, and that stadium is crazy. But the Steelers were after, I think they were after him. No, the Eagles were after them. So he would have had to pass through them and get to the Eagles. So if he could have had that pass, he could have been like, no, I pass and I could go there. Or if you got over 10 years, maybe you get to choose. I don't know. I know it would be unfair to the teams, to some teams, but I think it's unfair for a veteran to get waived or anybody to get waived for that point. And then you go from one bum team to the other team. Like Josh Reynolds last year went from Denver to like the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they weren't that good. Derek, you were right. We should have gotten an edge. You were so adamant. Me in the chat were against you, shaking my head. Hey, Steve, you know what? The funny thing about that, man, is like, so the reason that I've always been the way that like Raw knows this. I've been about an edge rusher for years, like literal years, because to me, they are the key to winning the Super Bowl. Like you need a defensive line. So if you got you need an edge rusher, the defensive tackle, one of those, two of those would be great. But the D line in its entirety is how you win the Super Bowl, right? That's what I believe from the football that I've been watching. Now it doesn't go like that every time, but if you look at the really, really mediocre offenses, you had the Baltimore Ravens. I remember that Super Bowl like it was yesterday. It was just like defense everywhere. Offense was run by Trent Dilfer, but the defense was eating people alive, right? So it's like you have to have, and if you're not going to have like just a wicked defense on all three levels, then at least have a strong defensive line, because that time created to throw solely comes from the defensive line, right? From those four guys rushing. And when you watch the Detroit Lions, they cannot win with four. They just cannot win. Whether or not Aiden needs to get better, okay, fine. They still cannot win with four. And you watch other teams, just like you're sitting back and when you watch other teams play, you're watching the Dolphins, you're watching the Steelers, and you appreciate the Detroit Lions, because one thing the Lions are going to do 9 out of 10 times is score. They're going to they can score they can't stop anybody from scoring, but they can score, right? So the reason that I've been as adamant that I've been about a pass rush is because the numbers said that we needed a pass rush. The numbers also said that Brad Holmes did absolutely nothing. He did not do enough to move the needle in the offseason. And I'm going to tell you what, I think we're going to have a very similar offseason. I really do. I think the offseason is going to go. Brad is not going to change, and it might cost him renewing his job, but I think we're going to have a very similar offseason. If NFL veteran players and you're waived, you be able to pick a playoff team. You know what, Patty? That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Or if you are waived, the playoff teams. So after December 1st, or how about this? After December 1st, an eliminated team from playoff contention. If you're eliminated from playoff contention, you can't be claimed. How about that? So only playoff teams can claim people. But then, so here's where we become, then the hustle would start, right? So let's say you're on a team and now your team is sucking. Could you imagine the people, like the number of people that are going to be requesting to be traded or released if only playoff teams can claim you? So maybe you have to have 10 years. Or you have to have, I don't know, 4 years makes you a vested veteran. So maybe you have to have 8. You have to have 8 years to be able to go to a playoff team or something like that. But I think there's some way that they got all these brains on the committee. They could figure this thing out. But leaving one sucky team because they suck, going to another one is just unfair. It really is unfair. So I think if you're, let me see. So I think if you're out of the playoffs, you cannot claim less than waivers. You cannot claim unless they clear waivers. Really? Okay. I wasn't aware of that, because I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, were they not in the playoffs last year? Because remember they claimed Josh Reynolds, and I think they were already done. I don't know. Did you see Philip? Let me see. And Zane Durant. Let me see. Brad better get David Bailey in the draft. Oh, Lord, we already talking about that. This is the reason edge rushers get paid so much money, because they can create havoc on Sundays. Absolutely. It's quarterback, edge rusher. Like, that's crazy. Because you're right. They're the ones that win games. Like, look at what happened. It was a game. What was it? It was a game that came down to a sack on Sunday. Was it Denver? It was a team. They were up by 8, but a sack sealed the deal. Did you see Phillip Rivers came back about lose 5 years health insurance? He was 5 days of losing it. Really? Patty, I did not know that he was 5 days away from losing it, but I did hear that he got 5 more years. I did hear that. So, yeah, for him, his wife, and his children, I did hear that. I did not know he was that close to losing. Maybe that's why he came back as well. Steven says, I love Monty, but he has to get traded. Running backs have high trade value today. We can get something for him, special for him. All right, what do you think we get? What do you think? What would you trade Dave? If you traded David Montgomery in the offseason, the team would get 2 years. What would you require? Lupe with the super chat. Appreciate you, bro. I don't know why I can't like it. Says, I'm saying that will be a good new rule. Also, what other person could replace Brad? Okay, so when it comes to replacing Brad, I honestly don't know. I don't know. Because Brad Holmes was on no one's radar before the Lions hired him, right? Nobody in Detroit was talking about him. We were talking about Louis Riddick. There were some other guys that we were talking about, but nobody was talking about Brad Holmes. I don't think anybody was talking about Dan Campbell either. And then you start hearing their names. It's not my job to find out who is capable of who has the knowledge to bring this team to a Super Bowl. But what this person would have to do, in my opinion, if you can bring some of the draft savvy that Holmes have and be a little aggressive, because I think that's what's holding Holmes back. I think that's what's holding. I think if Holmes is his biggest enemy. And we're starting to see that now. I've already seen it. When I realized that he was his biggest enemy, Broderick Martin. Like I'm not trying to pick on Broderick, but I'm like, yo, because as you start watching Brad, right? So year one, we didn't have any trade capital. Matt Patricia left us with 5 picks, and Brad turned those 5 picks into 7, and at least half of them were pretty good, right? So then year 2 and 3, you get the Stafford picks. Year 4, to me, is when you started to kind of see through the veil of, hey, when he took Terrion and Ennis. But when I knew that we were going to be in trouble, to me, was Broderick. Because when you look at the offseason, you look at, okay, the draft is how you build sustainability. And then you plug some pieces through free agency. And at first, Brad was hard to figure out. It's like, okay, maybe he's limited. Maybe his hand, because I remember making a video saying, like, maybe his hands are tied. When he got here, he literally had no control over the draft picks he had. Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn put him in the hole he was in. So then year 2, you got the first Stafford pick. Then year 3, you're seeing all this stuff. And then you start watching, but okay, well, what did Brad do in free agency? So then I started paying more attention to free agency. And 2024 was a really big year for pass rushers. There was a lot of available pass rushers that could have signed with the Detroit Lions. Now, at the time, there's no way I thought Andrew Van Ginkel was going to get $20 million. I'm thinking 6, 7, 10 max. Andrew Van Ginkel was available. Jonathan Grenard. What's his name? I think Danielle Hunter. Yes, Danielle Hunter wanted to go home, but money have a way of talking, right? Money make you, hey, you know what? I'll catch a flight. I'll see you during the summer. So I started to notice a trend. Brad was not moving off. We had those 2 first-round picks. And who in this chat thought in 2024 we could have given up a first-round pick to get a stud? We could have, instead of having a first-round pick in the draft, we could have traded that first-round pick. There's a lot of us who probably thought that. Then I started noticing, okay, well, he's not going to do that. But he didn't do anything in free agency. And so I think from the latter half of 2023, starting with Broderick Martin, I think Hendon was before that. But when he traded up for Broderick, it was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then I just thought, I kept seeing the neglect of the edge rusher position. And then it got more and more obvious. You go into 2025 and everybody's moving around the league because, the tampering period begins on Mondays. Free agency begins on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it is. So the tampering period is 2 days before. And when it was quiet, I was like, yo, I think like the biggest move that Brad made, kind of the most splashy move during free agency, was probably Chauncey C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Like, that was probably because everybody was like, oh, shoot, blah, blah, blah. And then I think but you start to see, and then I think he made himself very clear. So if we look into this season and the tampering period starts and you hear no news, because by the time free agency starts, it's over. That's when you can sign new deals. You can start tampering and making arrangements 2 days before that, right? So if Brad doesn't move, we're going to have the same season we had last year. Any undrafted college player can be signed on your own. Negative, I don't know who y'all think Monty is, a third or fourth rounder. Do you see what the pass rushers are going for? Let me see. I don't think he'd garner more than a fourth round. Real, I think that you could get a third. I think you can get a third for David Montgomery because he's a special back. I think you can get at least a third. You might be able to get another player, another pick. The moment he didn't go get Chase Young or Montez Sweat, I knew Brad was dumb. Washington wanted little for nothing for them. My biggest complaint about Brad is he keeps trading third round picks for experimental players. It's not a bad statement, Patty. It's not a bad statement. And I think that's another thing too that kicked them in the behind. Trade Montgomery for Trey, draft Thomas Mason from Oklahoma. Those two moves would alone make our defense top 3. But you know what? We don't have to trade Trey. Trey will be available. And I think, but I was saying this a long time ago, that this offseason is going to be critical for Brad Holmes. It really is. The first thing that you're going to notice, okay? And I want y'all to pay very close attention to this because it's going to mean a lot. The first thing that you're going to notice is if we start the offseason and you don't hear that either one have gotten an extension, I think that that's the first sign. That's the first sign. I want to believe that Sheila is about that life. As a matter of fact, let's get into it. So Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are coming on. They've already been extended 2 years ago. One of them is on the last year of his original deal. The other one is already will be on his new deal after next year. So next year will be the last year of his original deal. Dan Campbell had 6 years. Brad had 5. It was one or the other. So this offseason is going to be huge for both of these gentlemen. And we've talked extensively about the pressure that I think Brad Holmes is under from the fan base. The fan base is starting. The media started with Jahmyr Gibbs. That's when the media started. Now, they weren't all right, but the media in 2025 in the offseason, when you re-sign Marcus Davenport, because if you look at Brad Holmes, he has a pattern. The pattern is not only signing injured players, it is re-signing injured players. We signed Emmanuel Mosley coming off a season-ending injury. He had another one with our team. We re-signed him, right? DJ Chark was coming off a season-ending injury. DJ Reader, season-ending injury. The list goes on and on and on. Marcus Davenport, season-ending injury. I believe Josh Paschal will be back. I am 90% sure that Josh Paschal will return if he can physically play. Levi, I'm 50-50. The reason I feel that way is because Brad has a pattern of if you get hurt, he's going to give you another chance. If you get hurt during the last year of your deal, he's going to give you another chance. I think that we've seen it. We've seen this pattern in almost all of Brad's years. We've seen a pattern of if you get hurt, whether you were on our team or another team, he's going to sign. I don't think players, look at Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is essentially out for the season. He's got a core muscle issue or something like that, and he's not on IR, but is essentially done, right? That's one thing. That could be a long-lasting injury. It could be bigger than it appears, but those are not the injuries I'm talking about. But if you look at Brad Holmes and how we're going into year 6, that the Detroit Lions are essentially 3 weeks away from the offseason. And once that begins, to me, we're officially in a new year. We can start re-signing our players. We can do all of that stuff. The end of season press conference. And I think the biggest sign to the future of this regime is going to be whether or not we hear that they've been extended. We might not necessarily hear from Sheila. Sheila is only going to get in front of the media if it is absolutely necessary. We're talking about regime changes, coaching changes, big reasons that she's going to get in front of the media. As a matter of fact, we've only seen her once during this entire thing, and that was in 2022 when she had to come out and calm this entire fan base down. Lions were 1-6. She came out and she said, I believe in this team. I believe in Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. And it paid off. We wind up from that moment on, we have not lost essentially 2 games straight. It was either right then or a little after that. We have not lost 2 games in a row. So she had every right to believe in this regime, and they've been paying off. But now you go into, they've spent more time here than they have left on their contracts. Each of them have 2 years together. Now, to put this in perspective, and I think it's something worth noting, is that when they got hired, one of them had a 6-year contract. One of them had a 5-year contract. When both of them were extended at the same time, they now have the same ending year, which is after 2027. That's when their current contracts expire. What I also don't think is a coincidence is that Jared Goff, the Lions have a potential out that same exact year. So not only could Brad Holmes and or Dan Campbell be gone, but Jared Goff could also be gone. So we would get a new quarterback, a new regime, and we'll be in a new era of Detroit Lions football. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that worst case scenario is that Brad Holmes is the only one that leaves. I truly believe that. I just think Dan Campbell, he's too much of a commodity to be let go. I truly believe that, because if you think about it, and we've talked about this, Dan is the one catching all the darts. He's the one coaching the team. Brad runs. This running from the trade deadline, not being visible, available to speak, his offseason demeanor as he was questioned about the pass rush and other facets of this team that needed to improve, he set himself up. So if he was the one gone, I think he did it to himself. Now, you could have a coach. Look at the Miami Dolphins. They don't have a general manager, but they still have a coach. The Detroit Lions could be a very similar situation. Okay? But I don't think that either one of them are going to be relieved of their duties. I think, my opinion is, my worst case scenario is that Brad Holmes is not re-signed, that he is not extended. But if February comes and January comes, March, April, May, June, OTA start, and there's no extension, that is going to be very telling of this franchise. It really is. And it's going to tell me that Sheila has some doubt. Now, I want to ask you in the comment section, and when you watch this on playback, put it below. If Brad and Dan go into the summer, we're now in training camp, and they have no extension, what will that say to you? Will it say it's too early? Or will it say, hey, it might be a little, maybe Sheila doesn't believe as much as she did anymore? Because I'm going to tell you what, they had 2 years left on their deal, 2 and 3 years respectively. They were extended. They earned it. Sheila saw what they were doing in 3 short years. She gave them more time. Now they only have 2 years left. Let's just fast forward and say they got 2 years left, because they essentially do. Right after the season ends, they got 2 years remaining. Wouldn't it make sense if Sheila believed that this was the right thing to do, to go ahead and lock them up for another year or two, right? But I think regressing in the manner of which the Detroit Lions have done so far, that is not going to look good for them getting extended. Again, I'm keeping Dan Campbell. Brad Holmes, on the other hand, I got questions. I got questions. So let me know your thoughts. Which way are you leaning? But I think it's going to be very telling. It's going to be very telling if we get to March and April. Owners' meetings have passed. Sheila's not Jerry Jones. She's not always in front of the media. She shows up only when necessary. And if we don't see her by the draft, I think that there is something there. I think that there's something there. Let me know your thoughts. If Brad and Dan Campbell go for it on fourth down mentality and free agency, we be ready for a Super Bowl. That's what I meant to say that during my segment. Is right now, I don't think right now, I don't know if okay, I'll put it to y'all. Do you think that Dan Campbell has earned another extension? What would it take for, do you hold them? They came in together, but not really. They were just hired at the same time. It wasn't like Bob Quinn, who literally brought in Matt Patricia. He fired the guy that wasn't his. He brought the guy that was. They had to leave together. I don't think that's the case with Brad and Dan. So do you hold them to the same exact standard, or is it something one has to do over the other? Is it something, which one is it for you? Oh, hey, Lupe says, how crazy would it be if the Bears claim Judon? I would love that. I would love it. So there's some stuff going around that, there are some people that want the Lions to miss the playoffs. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. If you want the Lions to miss the playoffs, I'm okay with that. Because we all have a different way of being a fan. If you want the Lions to miss the playoffs to wake them up, I cannot be mad at you. I think that this team needs a jolt. Y'all remember that drink, man, Jolt? I think it was about Mountain Dew. It was okay. Super sugary. They need a jolt, man. And I think missing the playoffs is that jolt. I do. Now, to go back to them getting extended, if they make like the NFC Championship game, I think they'll be like, okay, we're right there. We're right there. Because I think that's what Sheila thought when they extended them, that we're right there. And we did progress, right? Record-wise, we progressed. But the constant, ladies and gentlemen, is Brad Holmes. It really is, man. If you start dissecting this roster and the lack of moves that he makes that move the needle, he is the constant. And I think that he is going to, if he doesn't get extended, it's his own fault. If Brad Holmes does not get extended, he did that to himself. Rob, what up, though, says, I called it last year, bringing back Davenport. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm calling it this year. Josh Pascal will be back. He will sign. I am 95% sure Pascal's going to be back. I'm 50-50 on Levi. I'm 50-50 on Levi. If they can play. State Farm says Brad was hired 2 days after Dan. He also was hired with less than a year with Dan Campbell. Okay, so it was what I thought. Dan had 6 years, and Dan was hired first. A lot of people think Brad was hired first. Dan was hired first, then Brad came in. Dan had 6, Brad had 5. That's how I thought it was. Thanks, State. I appreciate that. Will says, if we make the playoffs and get bounced out, nothing will change. If we make the playoffs and get bounced out, nothing will change. If we miss the playoffs, that lights a fire under Brad's seat, in my opinion. I agree. But the thing is, does it for Brad? And I believe that if you want the Lions to miss the playoffs, I think that's legitimate. I think it's legitimate. Oh, Volt was a cola. Joe was a cola. Surge. Thank you, bro. Yeah, man, I could have swore, man, Volt was green, but I think I was thinking of Surge. That sounds more like it. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm all right on Brad. I've seen plenty enough. Let him do mediocrity somewhere else. Brad and Campbell, a package deal. That's what Kalen believes. I disagree with you. They didn't come in together, meaning Brad wasn't, usually the GM is hired first and then they'll hire the coach. And I think if you brought in Dan Campbell first, it's no way you can get rid of him first. The same way that there was no way that Matt Patricia was fired and Bob Quinn was not. I was waiting to hear that. And that gave me faith that Martha was serious. How can you keep the man that fired the man that was winning, hired the man that sucked, and keep him? It would have shown me that this team is not serious. And when Mark the Fire, I was ready to stop watching them. If Bob Quinn would have been the general manager of this team after firing Jim Caldwell, I would have stopped watching the Lions until he was fired. I would have boycotted them until he was fired. Campbell has to suck it up too. What's up, Trey? Campbell has to suck it up too, and let Brad have it because it's going to cost him his job. Brad has a 1-year deal. Yes. So that's why they both have 2 years remaining. I bet Dan is tired of Brad. I think Serge took only 5 years off my life. Yeah, Serge was crazy, bro. Is it anything that you guys have had to stop drinking? Is it any product that you guys have had to stop drinking? For me, I've had to give up Monsters. Like, this was 10 years ago. I had to stop drinking Monsters. They were killing my stomach, man. So it still messes with me to this day. Brad can go. Dan stays, says Braylon. Do you think Dan is getting frustrated with Brad's not making any moves in free agency? Dante, I believe that. But Dan Campbell is a man of integrity, and I don't think you'll ever hear it. You'll ever directly hear, hey, you know what? I'm getting irritated. I don't think you'll ever hear that, but I think he feels it. I think he feels it. We're going to know a lot this year. And I'm going to tell you what, claiming Matthew Judon would go a long way. Because that's not something the Lions, and I know he hasn't done much this year. I'm looking at his resume, and you know, who cares? Who cares, bro? We got 3 weeks left in the season. If you can sign Bruce Irvin off the couch, he literally had a lap full of milk duds. If you can sign him off the couch, you can claim Matthew Judon. Judon has no sacks. Matthew had no sacks. I mean, Matthew had no sacks. Bruce had no sacks. Bruce had some bonbons. Matthew's been playing. Come on, bro. I'm getting frustrated. My apologies for the spam. Jay Smooth, you don't have, bro. This is what it's for. This is what it's for. As a matter of fact, that text line that I have been promoting, that's going to be like a vent line for you to leave me a voicemail, and I can play them during some video segments. We might have a whole segment, just a whole video, like live stream dedicated to you guys, as you know, what you want to talk about. What's up, Eagle? What's going on, man? Energy drinks are good when you need them, but every day is a heart attack waiting to happen. Well, I found one that's pretty decent that doesn't bother me. Unfortunately, I had to do fizz free, which is super boring. Celsius is pretty good for me in the body. I had to stay off the so it's like 4 flavors that I keep repeating. It's like, and one of them is just, it's the variety is sucks, man. It's like 4. I keep recycling the same 4 flavors. I had to stop drinking brisk tea drinks, way too much sugar. Eventually, I could taste the diabetes. That's crazy. What are you trying to do? Live forever? Drink up. Look at, oh, my bad, bro. And I missed another comment as well. I missed another one. Thank you for reminding me. Braylon. I saw it during the segment. Okay, hold on. I'm glad. Thank you for reminding me. If I miss a super chat, oh God, come on, y'all. Waiting on my computer. Oh, okay. All right. Of course. Okay. Now I done missed it. Now it's gone. Okay. Okay, I said that one. I read that one. And then, okay. Got Monkey with the $2 super chat says, CBs keep getting hurt because the pass rush sucks. Very much so, man. Very much so. Oh, hold on. All right, sorry about that. The kid, he likes to FaceTime instead of calling. Hold on, somebody just tagged me on Twitter. Okay, practice report. Dan Campbell is the perfect coach for this team. So right now, hold on, let me see. Yeah. So my thing is frozen, so I can't see any viewer activity. It happens, and sometimes you have to exit out and restart it. What's crazier is Bears poach Hassani. Hey, yeah, you know what, bro? Real, they would have to move him to the 53. They would have to move him to the 53. Oh, I'm way behind. Signing Judon. Hey, okay, so listen. What is J Smooth? That's crazy, bro. 1 Celsius, you remember which one it was? Okay, what is Cutwater? If you can say it in the chat, say it. But I've heard about it. I don't know, but I have heard about it. No, Malachi, that was the son, man. He likes to FaceTime me and not call me. He said he just likes it better. He does that to everybody. Tennessee cold for what they did to us. No, they cold for what they did to the homie, because that just, they like picking first in the draft right now. Oh, it's alcohol. Holy moly. I thought it was actual water, bro. Holy smokes. It's like tequila, I think, and it's 12%. Okay, is it like one of those harder, you know how you got like platinum, which is 6, and then you got hard or something that's 8, and then, so is it one of those things, or is it just straight tequila? Holy, that's crazy. Hey, look. Oh, high Cutwater, high booze drinks. Oh my God, Loco? No way. Ugh. Hey, I'd rather drink 151 than that. I'd rather get me some 151 over. I cannot. Them things, I had one, I had to pour it out. That's crazy. Yeah, Trey. Cut has different flavors. Oh, Lord. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll get some for the Lions when they get out the playoffs so I can crash out. Maybe I'll get some. If you get the wrong flavor, it's horrible. Just give me a Crown Royal. Yeah, the apple stuff is tight. Hey, I'm going to tell you what y'all should try. You should really try that Lion's Blood, man, from Nate Burleson, the Valentine, especially if you are on kind of you're watching your calories. Look, if you drink alcohol or you don't drink, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to take it's not become like a taste testing thing. But if you know how like you'll drink some vodkas and it'll hit you right in the face and you can taste it immediately. And one thing about the Valentine that I noticed is not as strong. It's good. It's not as strong. And you could probably drink it in moderation and not put on a bunch of weight. I know that was one of Nate's kind of his kind of factors when he was talking about it, and it's pretty good. It's really good. And I don't even like orange flavored things like the cream stuff. I'm not a fan. You know them little pops off the ice cream truck? Hated them. Sherbet, hate it. Or sorbet, whichever fancy word I hate it, man. But I could actually drink some of that stuff. Cutwater strawberry is amazing. Look, y'all gonna have to, you know what? I might pull up. I might try, when this football, tomorrow night, I might pull up and try to find one. Y'all crazy. I'm old school. Give me some Henny and Coke. Yeah, my wife is a Henny person. I like light stuff myself. What does Nate Burleson Lion's Blood drink taste like? So it's vodka. It's very smooth, and it tastes like his specifically tastes like orange, like cream, like that orange cream. Like it tastes just like one of them pops, man. Them push pops from the ice cream truck, just like it. Jake Smooth says, "Don't do it." Oh man. Yeah. But listen, y'all, we got a big game. I'll see you guys on Friday. We'll be back on Friday. Tomorrow we'll be on Lions Syndicate at 4 for Lions Weekly. Hopefully my voice is back by then. But we got a big game. We didn't get to touch on Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about him on Friday. That's another segment I meant to record yesterday, but Aaron got a revenge game. Last time the Lions played Aaron Rodgers, we put him out. We ended his NFC career in Green Bay, and we put him out the playoffs. he could return the favor. Now, the Lions, I will say this before we get off, the Lions have if they lose, they have a 16% chance to make the playoffs. So right now it's sitting at 40-something. With the win, I think it goes up in the 50s. If they lose, it drops down to, if they lose, it drops down to like 16. You know what? I think I bookmarked this. I wanted to talk about this. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look, we've been growing like a weed. I'm waiting on Motor City Cats to get back where he's in a position to make content. Still have not made any progress on Nick. I don't know what's going on with him. I think he is okay. But I haven't heard from him. Okay, yeah. All right, so yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think the Lions can get eliminated this week. They can with a loss to the Steelers. They can get eliminated next week. Cut, gonna have you on tip, fam. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll say that for another time then. Lions win versus Pittsburgh. Lions lose to Minnesota, then win to Chicago. We shouldn't lose to Minnesota, Patty. If we lose, to me, bro, if we lose to the next two teams, we don't need to go to the playoffs. Because one, the team coming up, this is our last home game. So we need to show up. You know, we've been laying some eggs at home. Last year we went 8-0 on the road. We went 7-2 at the crib. This year, you know, it's not great. And we can't lose our last home game. We cannot lose our last home game. So, but if they lose these two, and the Minnesota Vikings, man, Justin Jefferson is like wide receiver number 3 with JJ in there. So we better win both these games. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a possibility that listen. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. I'll remind you again on Friday. We are doing. The Lions cannot be knocked out of the playoffs this week with a loss. But if they lose this week and the right combination of things happen, they can week 17. And that's immediately when I'm aiming straight at Brad Holmes. All right, so we are going to do this week, and I'll remind you guys again on Saturday or Friday. This week we are doing the Bears-Packers. They play Saturday night. We will be doing that game on Lion Syndicate because that game is going to be a big deal. Again, another Bears loss would be tremendous, but there is a way that with a Packers loss, like this is crazy. Lions can take care of business. Either way really helps us, but a Bears loss probably helps a little bit more. But there's a way that like both teams could lose. Well, one of those teams can't lose out, and that'll be determined on Saturday. So we'll be doing that game on Saturday. Then our game is at 4:25 on Sunday. So we'll be doing that. So I'll say this as my Dan is live right now, bro. Seriously? Come on, dog. Okay, all right. We'll bring it in. Since we ain't on tomorrow, we'll bring it in. Okay. All right. Let me pull it up. I appreciate that, y'all. Let me do this. I'm going to let me pull it up. Appreciate that, y'all. I usually look and see when he's live, if it's while we're going to be on, and I'll have it queued up. All right. Do that. Okay, here it is. Oh, man, Tom Brady was on a show with Shaq. All right. It might be some juicy stuff in here. Let me do that. All right. Let's see what Dan the man has to say.
They do it the right way. They do it the hard way, and they make you try to earn it at the end of the game. They do it the right way. They do it the hard way, and they make you try to earn it at the end of the game. So we know this will be one of those physical battles. We got to play smart, take care of the football, and be very efficient. But he's always run a good program, and we know we get our hands full. Questions?
Have you developed any sort of relationship with him at all just over your time in the league? I mean, he's been coaching the Steelers since you've been playing, but have you gotten the chance to know him at all over your travels?
Yeah, but I do know him, but I wouldn't say it's something where I call him, we talk all the time, anything like that. I've just got a ton of respect for him. I know what he's about and the way he goes about his business. And then, you know, anybody that I know that's ever come across Coach Tomlin speaks so highly of him. So, you know, he's 101.
When you look at them and some of their skill weapons, obviously DK Metcalf, you know, stands out, but
Yep.
Gainwell actually leads them in receptions. What's the difficulty, Dan, of you know, trying to defend a running back, much like Christian McCaffrey, who catches so many footballs and is dangerous like that out of the backfield, much like Gibbs has become for you guys?
Yeah, well, it just gives them another element, right? Gives them another element, and that gets, you know, if you're able to get the running back out and he's a good route runner, then, you know, you get isolated on a linebacker. We're fortunate we got some pretty good backers here, so that helps. But yet, it's still a matchup that I would say most offenses are always looking for in general is can you find that? And, you know, I like Gainwell. He's a good back. And he's versatile. You know, he's got vision. He's pretty sneaky that way, shifty, and he is a good receiver. And then, you know, Rodgers has done a great job of finding those throws, getting the ball out. He's got some big targets. Metcalf is still, he's a load. He's a weapon. His run after catch is really showing up this year. I mean, it's always been there, but a lot more underneath throws and letting him make something happen. You know, they got 3 tight ends over there that can block and run, and, you know, Arthur Smith's doing a hell of a job. You know, he's running his system, and it fits what they're about. It fits what they do.
Unlock the deep ball a little bit there against the Rams, better than you had, you know, in the past several weeks. I'm just wondering how much of that was schematic to the opponent, or do you think maybe you've got something sustainable you can build off of from that performance?
A lot of that was opponent, you know. It was we were going to be able to get some opportunities with what they do. And we hit it the right time. Goff saw it, felt that J-Mo was outstanding. So was Saint down in the red zone. And it all worked, lined up really well. And those guys really executed at a high level, you know. So it was everything working the way that you want it to work. That was good. Doesn't mean that those are not, you know, that you don't want them to show up again, but it was kind of the perfect, perfect situation.
It's about one of your running backs, David Montgomery, and just kind of his, you know, how he's handling his reduced role of sorts, I guess, especially last week, and maybe the challenges of getting him more involved, you know, given how good Jameer is. And, you know, only one ball to go around.
Well, yeah, I mean, David is a pro. David's a pro, you know. He goes about his business. He handles it. And I know that's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, you're a guy he's a damn good back, and you know.
Yo, all right. So I'm a look. So Dan, let me let him finish, bro. Cause it sounds like they've relegated him to like the other guy. So Sonic and Knuckles is gone, bro. I mean, that's what Dan is sounding like. Let me go back a little bit. That's too far.
Back, and every good player wants their chance to help the team win and get some production. So I know it can't be easy. I know it's not easy, but he's a pro. He handles his business and goes about it. And whenever you call his number, he's ready to go. And it's something I think about a lot, you know, is how do we get them all involved? You know, he's one of those. When they're all involved, we're just better. We're a better offense. And, you know, where do we get him touches? Where do we find them? And
come on, Dan. Come on, bro. You know what? We need an offensive coordinator. We got it. Dan, we need an offensive coordinator. This offseason gonna be big. What do you mean? Gotta find way. Dude was running all over the Rams. Dude, it's very rare that Monty is stuffed. That's crazy. I didn't even peep that this was on the screen. Wow. This was very telling. So everything that we thought about Monty and his sideline reaction was 100% true.
You know, so I do. I think about him a lot.
how do you go about getting more touches, or is it just like you talked about before, more plays equals more touches for everyone?
Well, the more plays is always going to help, but I think it's some of those. What series do? It's one thing to bring him in, but maybe before that, do we start tagging some things for him to get him involved early in Jaw's series, and get Jaw breather and then we've used some of these two back, the two back with three receivers. We've done some of that, but that's that's kind of where we're at right now.
Over the years with Aaron.
Yo. Okay, so what did you peep? What did you peep with that statement that they have series? So it is a A and B thing. It's a series. Okay, so you peep that and giving Ja a breather. So it is official, bro, that this team they're leaning on, like the numbers show that, but they're leaning on, they're phasing out David. They're phasing out David. I don't understand what Dan Campbell is talking about here. You have a situation where it is obviously working. Jahmyr Gibbs is either speed or shiftiness. He got some power, don't get me wrong, but David, he brings like a level of everything, and he can add that power. Why is it difficult for you to find him touches? I don't understand that. And then when it does seem to be his series, you pull him out to feed Jahmyr Gibbs. Somebody said the other day, and I thought about this, and I'll let him finish. I thought about this, and I don't want to go to here, but when Nate brought it up a couple shows ago about kind of the Jahmyr Gibbs narrative. Now, I don't think Jahmyr has anything to do with this, okay? But think about this. I thought about this. Jahmyr Gibbs had 3 touchdowns. He had 3 touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys. 3. You know how many he had on Sunday? 0. You know what he did with those 3 touchdowns? I think he tied Barry Sanders for the most touchdowns under 24. You know what he gets to do at home on Sunday? I guarantee you Jahmyr Gibbs is going to score Sunday. I promise you that. They will make sure that he scores, breaks Barry Sanders' record in front of the home crowd. I just thought about that, though, to piggyback off Nate's comment from earlier. I don't know if it's that serious, but I don't understand how you need to find David Montgomery anything. If it's not working for Gibbs, it becomes obvious very early. He either got to beat you on the side, which we've seen him do, use him in the receiving game, or he got to get untouched up the middle. Right? David Montgomery, we've seen this dude stumble, bumble, and rumble all the way and take half the defense with him. We have to find a way to get him the ball. And if not, we need to trade him. That's it. If the OC cannot find a way, the first thing I would say with the OC, I wouldn't care about how creative he is. How do you get David Montgomery more touches? This whole Sonic and Knuckles duo at the same time, we don't see it. If David come in, we run him. We're running. That's it. So you know what? They really failed Monty this year. And he had every right. I still got the photo. We'll go back in a second. He had every right to look like this. Every right to look like this. And the morons on Twitter, they're so idiotic that they're like, well, we're losing. How was he supposed to look? What do you mean how he's supposed to look? Anybody that follows this team and dreams about them when they're sleeping and they wake up talking about them, you know what this look was because you've been following this saga since the offseason. And at the very beginning. Come on, man. We have to get this man the ball, or we might as well let him go.
Rodgers at Ford Field, there are some performances that would make Lions fans break out in hives just thinking about him.
Mm-hmm.
What is he still doing so well that's made him succeed and made him the quarterback of his generation?
Well, he plays fast. He plays fast and he's accurate. I mean, he's always had the accuracy. He's got such a quick release. I mean, he can process it like that, and it's with a flick of the wrist. The thing is, it's into the receiver's hands at a perfect location to where they can do damage with once they get it into their hands. So that has gone nowhere. His ability to get it out and play fast is still there, very much there.
Dan Tomlin mentioned that they've done a lot of research on Jack Campbell specifically this week. What do you think of just the attention he's really starting to attract externally and how flexible he's been in the situations you put him in?
Well, we've known it. I mean, we have. He's, that's We know how valuable he is for us and what he does. He's a rugged player for us, man. He's a durable, rugged, productive player.
Hey, melodrama, you peeped that out too, bro? You peeped that out? You peeped that out too. He was giddy talking about Dallas players. He was giddy talking about the Rams players. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he believes in our guys, but he was giddy, bro. And I'm like, maybe Brad is the one that's real. Maybe Brad is in control. Like maybe Dan has been saving face this entire time, saying that they're on the same page and they're not really on the same page. Because I don't know. I see a difference, y'all. I see a difference.
Player, and I mentioned this, I think, last week, and it still was the same thing. He's taken more reps than anybody on our team to this point, which is, and those are not easy reps, but fortunately he's built well, he's built to handle it. And so that's, I'm happy for him in that regard because he is getting noticed and he deserves credit for the way he's playing. But we've known it, here in this building what he's about.
You guys have given up 30 points each of the last 4 games, and over that span, you've given up the most passing yards in the league. How much does that reduce the margin of error for the offense?
Yeah, a ton. A ton. And I think, this goes back to last week was. It is minimal, and when you struggle to run the ball, then to keep up or to stay ahead of them, you have to be perfect in the.
Yo, come on, Dan. I can't with this, y'all. Struggle to run the ball. You're struggling because you get away from it. Come on, Dan. Somebody said in the comments, he don't seem like the same coach. I agree, and we gonna see if this is the same arrogant Brad Holmes. When the off season, come on, bro. He don't even seem like he got the same swag. You know what I'm saying? That he's had. Maybe Campbell don't even believe it. Maybe he don't believe it. I think he want to believe it. Maybe he don't. Hey, look, it be some realness to this, y'all. I know the media machine, creates stories and they pump up narratives and stuff like that. It is some realness to this. Every time we hear that and we haven't heard it. We have not heard it. Let that be clear. But it is some realness to this stuff. It really is. So I wish I had a source. I wish I had a source inside the Lions organization. I would protect them with my life. If there's anybody who watches this channel, I would die before I gave you away. Like real talk. Holla at your boy. Reach out in an email. I want the skinny, bro. I promise you, I would die before I told who my source was. But we need to know some stuff, bro. Even the draft in 2025 seemed different. Anybody peep that? They was laid back, subdued, and it was almost like, what is this? We used to like this ridiculous reaction, and Holmes was chilling, bro. It didn't even seem the same. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro.
Pass game. We have no margin for error to not have a completion or miss on a shot play or give up a sack. Like we don't have that, and that's very difficult if you're asking that of your pass game in today's game and the league, the way it's set up. So it puts a lot of strain on you. But at the same time, you find the run game, like I talked about in the third quarter, you reduce the stress off the defense. And now you make their offense one-dimensional because you're up 2 scores late in the third. So that's why it all goes hand in hand, and where offensively we can help the defense, and in turn the defense helps the offense, and then you gain a little confidence, you find your way, and so.
It's just a walkthrough today, but Mahogany was listed as full go.
Full go walkthrough today.
What are the chances he can be back this week, and what sort of lift can he give you when he?
Yeah, we're hopeful. We'll know a lot more tomorrow. I know by last week, certainly, it was okay. That looked pretty good, but also knew he wasn't ready. So we're hopeful. I don't. It's a good question. I'm hoping it looks pretty good. I hope he feels good. But we'll know more really by Friday. So full speed tomorrow. Friday he'll go through, and then we'll see if he can go.
You knew the 13 personnel going into last week was going to be the thing. Some of your guys in the locker room just said
Hey, Justin Rogers is a sucker for that one, bro. Hopefully John gets his question off. But Justin Rogers is a sucker for that. Shut up, young punk. Let the man talk. Look, I'll rock with nobody who don't rock with me. And John a stand-up dude. Let the man talk. They all got quiet when the lady started talking and let her talk. They let her get her question off. They better let John talk, bro. They would all be trying to cut me off. I was dreaming last night what kind of questions I would ask Brad Holmes. I'd be like, damn, what up, though? I'd be like, what kind of coffee you drink? That's all I care about. When as soon as I see Brad, I'm going to be like, dog, when you start feeling yourself, what happened to we good? Like, did you really think we were good? Did you really think Marcus Davenport wasn't going to get hurt again? They would hate to see me coming, bro. Now let my boy John get his question off. Young punks.
The stress that it put on them was a little bit too much to overcome. What Pittsburgh runs at second most in the league. You know, what can you take away from last week and the corrections coming out of that game that can be applied here?
Well, there's some schematic things we will do a little different, and that we know we can do a little different that we think can help. All right, and I'm not going to dive into all that, but then just there again, some of our fits, some of the keys, some of those little things just got a little dirty on some of our guys. Gave our guys, it's a little muddy, and man, stay focused on what your keys are and what you're supposed to be looking at. And it doesn't mean it's easy, but it's going to help significantly. A lot of that goes a long way. And if you don't see a ton of it, it can get on you, And so I think seeing it actually was probably one of the best things getting ready for this game, as we just came out of a full game with it, and so I think everything. I think we can help them a little bit here. I think seeing it last week is big, and I think we focus on those guys and their keys, man. Your eyes, where your eyes belong, where's your fit. That'll all help.
You've had some health stuff at left guard, maybe disrupting continuity in the back half of the year, but how do you feel like that's been progressing over the last 6-7 weeks or so?
Just at the left guard? Well,
Pass protection in general, despite maybe some of the health disrupting.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm always going to want more. That's me. And because I don't ever want golf getting hit. So I'm always going to, you'd love to come out of the season and say there's no quarterback hits. Well, that's not a reality. But you're always going to want more. And look, it's not the easiest thing to roll guards in there. And, you get an injury, now it's a new guard, and now it's, this one, Cologne's in, now Frazier's in. And so that's not easy. But I think we're doing the right thing and doing what we feel like is giving us the best chance at this point. It's not perfect, but I think it's where we're at and what we need to do.
Looks like you started Gio's clock this week. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of curious, what are you looking for him in these final 3 weeks of the regular season?
I think for Gio, he needs reps, practice reps. Get out there against our defense, against Davenport and Hutch in real-time practice. There's not a ton of them, and it's not like training camp, but God, he just needs reps, man. He cannot get enough reps. And if we're able to use him or there's something there this year, that's a bonus. It's really about getting him, man, will this set him up better for next year? For training camp, going into that next year, that's really it.
Yeah, Dan, we've talked a lot about the team not losing back-to-back games, but the last 2 months haven't been able to.
I'm so sick of talking about it, too.
I am wondering about knowing this team and your experience, what goes into the recipe of stacking wins?
Well, you got to win the first one. Like I mentioned the other day, we got to win this one to have a chance to win the next one. So that's really where it all starts, man. It's like I told the team, it's it's 1 week, it's one game, and it's one win. That's all we can focus on. We got let's go back to the drawing board, go back to the fundamentals, the things we talked about, man. Urgency out here. And let's go, man. We got to get ready. This is a rugged team that's coming in here, a physical team, and they've always been that way. They play bully ball. We just came out of a game where they played physical, and we lost that game. And so I know what that tape says. I know what Pittsburgh's looking at. So that's what we got to be preparing for and understand the attitude you're going to have.
Thank you, Dan.
Dang. Dan got the heck up out of there, bro. He was gone. He couldn't get out there fast enough. I don't know, man. Is it just me or Campbell got a little bit more snazzy, man, after John's comment about the offense, the feasible comment. I don't know. It just seemed like a little bit, just a little bit of snaz. Hopefully he got that same snaz with Brad Holmes. All right, so there it is. Thanks for everybody that told me that the live was on. I appreciate that. And yes, I agree, Rail, that you can hear the frustration. What's up, Tyrone? You can hear the frustration. You can. And this offseason is going to be intriguing, but we still have 3 more games to go. And I will say this, to go with the playoff comment that somebody made earlier. If the Lions are not going to win a Super Bowl, I kind of want them to miss the playoffs too. You know, I was watching the guys and you know, I don't want to say who they are because I might misquote the comment, but somebody was saying you can't be much of a fan and you want them to miss the playoffs. And I'm like, you disagree. I mean, I disagree. I don't think that. I think you can be very much a fan and want your team to want this particular team to miss the playoffs because their thought was you get in the playoffs and they can go on a run. They can get hot at the right time. That is very true. But if your nose was bleeding right now, the tissue would stop your nose. I mean, more than the Detroit Lions defense. Of course it would. That's what it's made for. But you get the metaphor. The Detroit Lions defense is not, matter of fact, today is the defensive ranking through. And wait till y'all see it. I just glanced at where we rank at. Wait till you see it. With that being said, man, man, oh man, I will tell you this. Anybody that has to co-parenting is one of the hardest jobs I think you can ever do. Co-parenting is super difficult because not only does it keep you in contact with your ex, whatever, right? But you have to set the right example for the kids. And then you got like 2 families. It is crazy, bro. Co-parenting is difficult. It really is. And it's, man, I could start a whole nother channel. Syndicate stories. Syndicate therapy. Oh, that hurts my throat. All right, y'all. Listen, I'm going to holler at you on Friday. We'll see you on tomorrow on Lion Syndicate. And I want you to go to YouTube and look up Christopher Reeve. I sound just like him in a wheelchair. It's crazy. I have no idea what happened to my voice. But I woke up like this, and all I need is, I'm like, man, that's the first thing I thought about. Anyway, y'all, I will see you on Friday. Go Lions. Let me pull this picture back up. Nah, I need to drink some tea or something. Off the neighbors, whether homegrown or imported, we feeling shorted, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City when we get back on the feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets. Cause when you're in the Motor City, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets. Cause when you're in the Motor City, everything ain't pretty but it's love though. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City where we get back on our feet. Next time when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City when we get back on our feet. Yeah.